All right. Well, welcome. This is our first really big release of 2023. We want to talk to you about what's rolling out next week. And so we are going to be covering a number of enhancements and updates throughout our time today. Christy is going to run us through changes for the new form 4473. With the ATF changes, we're going to talk about some cloud storage updates, serialized SKU enhancements, big integrations with big distributors and vendor catalogs and what that means for you. We also have some updates to our mobile apps. I know our favorite section is to go over some updates and enhancements that have come straight from customer suggestions. And we will leave plenty of time at the end for Q&A. But honestly, jump in anytime during the presentation and ask questions in the chat. I'll be monitoring that as we go through the PowerPoint deck and also jump live into Bravo. If you don't have your chat open it up, because we do have some trivia questions throughout the course of the presentation. And those of you who get answers closest to the correct answer, we're going to be sending you some gift cards. Speaking of gift cards, we can roll to the next slide. And we have some housekeeping items. Some of you may have seen in our newsletter that we are asking customers to go leave reviews on a third-party site called SourceForge. It's kind of a newer third-party site. And we'd love to not only hear from our customers, but also have those reviews out there so that people who are non-Bravo customers have your opinion of Bravo. So it takes like 3 minutes. I'll drop it in the chat in a moment. You leave a review. You can put both pros and cons. And when you leave that review, shoot me an email. Let me know you did that. And I'm going to send you a Starbucks gift card. We've already sent out several of those this week. Something else that's really excited. I know some of you are going to be at TAP. We are kicking off a 2023 Bravo user group. So at trade shows that we're going to be at select trade shows, we are reserving space and time for Bravo customers to come in and do all sorts of brainstorming and ideation sessions. They'll be guided. And the whole purpose of that is to hear from you in a new way beyond just Facebook or the customer suggestions. And you'll be highly influential in shaping our 2023 and 2024 roadmap. So if you're going to TAP, I'm going to, again, in the chat in just a moment, put a link where you can go just sign up. You also get a bunch of free swag, which is really fun. And of course, if throughout our presentation today, you want to learn more about Bravo Point of Sale, if you're not a customer of ours, or if you are a customer and there's an add-on product you're interested in and you want to get a demo and get a quote, I'm going to include a link for you to just sign up for a demo as well. So thank you again for being here. I'm going to turn it over to Christy. Actually, no, we have our first trivia question. That's right. We have our first trivia question. So we are going to jump in with all the E44 changes first. But before we do that, let's do a chance to win a gift card. So open up your chat. And by Christy's count, how many changes have been made to the ATF December 2022 form 4473? So we're rolling out the new form. There's a lot 8, of changes.
10, 15, 12, 3, 5, 7, 3, 6, 4, 9.
Okay. All right. We'll count down. Anybody else who wants to get a guess in? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. The closest was Bernadette. Go ahead, Christy. You can roll to the next slide, but Christy's going to talk through. There were actually 50 changes made by our count on this new form. So a lot of changes that we've considered. Bernadette, we're going to be shooting you a gift card. Thank you for participating. Go ahead, Christy. Now I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Awesome. So I counted 50 changes. So that could be for us as software programmers, that could be them moving a comma or adding an extra character. So while you might not have seen anything close to 50 changes, that's actually what we had to make on our end. The biggest changes that the ATF made in the latest 4473 is now you are required to identify those privately made firearms. So those will be recorded. In the 4473, there's a new question that asks if the transferee or buyer actually resides within the city limits. There are two no prohibiting questions. So if the buyer answers these questions improperly, they are prohibited from purchasing the firearm. And then there's also a change for the Bipartisan Safers Community Act, and that's for those individuals purchasing firearms under the age of 21. So additional compliance that needs to be addressed for that. So all of these changes, all 50 of them, are set to happen on April 1st. So if you do not have E4473 and you haven't gone out to start training on the new form, now is definitely the time to do it. The ATF has listed really nicely on their website all of the changes that were made to the 4473. So if you want to actually look at all 50 of those, you can go right out and check them out. But if you're not on the new form, it's time to start for all those customers who are using E4473. As you know or may not know, the release is going to be on the 28th. So that's when that change is going to happen for you. For those customers using it, we have done some additional work to make the process faster, smoother, more seamless, and prevent some more errors. So first and foremost, with those two new prohibiting questions, Bravo is going to validate those yes/no questions. So if the customer answers yes to either one of the two new questions, as you can see during the review, we will pop them up in red, and your employee will not be allowed to proceed with the transaction. The next thing that we've done is for the tracking and reporting of the BSCA compliance. So now if you have one of those customers that is under 21 years age and the initial response is delayed, you can go ahead and put in that initial delay date, and we'll go through this in just a moment. But now you'll see when you come back in to enter the second response, if you are asked to wait that additional or potentially additional 10 business days, you'll be able to note that here in E4473. And then if no response is given within 10 days, come back in and mark it as such appropriately. So helping you out with the addition of that. And then something new that we've done, and this was based off of customer feedback. We grabbed this out of Facebook. So customers were asking us to do validation on questions 19 and 20. So now if the customer selects that they're not a citizen of the United States, 20 will be a required answer. And then we will also flag it under the review as requested. I believe it was in Facebook, so that your employees will remember to actually ask that customer for the supplemental documentation that's required to release a firearm to that individual. The next thing we did is, if you hadn't noticed, we actually improved the user interface a little bit. So if you notice, we added a little bit of color. So it's a little bit easier to see if you're walking up behind an employee, where exactly they are in the workflow of the transaction. So just a little bit easier on the eyes. And then finally, the last thing we did for our cloud storage customers is we added back auto printing for the 3310 forms. And that's to serve as a reminder to actually file those with the Clio. It's one of those things, it's like in the cloud, so the idea is to get rid of the paper and not have to print and to save. But what we found is, based on customer requests, they wanted it added back until there's a different solution. So we're tossing around a couple of ideas, like auto emailing them to the Clio or creating a special task for it. So we will come up with an alternative solution really soon to get you to not be printing those, because we understand that's part of the cloud storage is you don't have to print. So we will go ahead and jump in to the new 4473 and what your customers are going to see. So I've actually already started a firearm transaction. Let me reshare my screen here. So I am at the point where the customer is filling it in. So you guys can see my screen. Can I get a thumbs up? Okay, cool, great. So page one, so you might notice, I mean, we typically, you guys aren't the ones filling out the 4473s, but at the bottom, we did add page numbers. So it's a little indicator for your customer where they are in the process of filling out the form. So nothing's changed in section A. We are completing that for you. And then the customer comes in and begins to fill out section B. So you can see this is a little bit broken up if you've ever looked at or filled out one of these before. So it's a little bit less information per page, making it easier to actually fill out this form. And I forgot it's not me doing it. My apologies. Let's go ahead and pop in the street address. And the zip. And then here's the new question. Do you reside within city limits? So we'll say yes. And then I'm going to skip 16, 17. I'll fill out 18, 18B. So here's where we made the change. So now if you select other and try to move on, you cannot. So that's part of that validation. And then 21A is the same question it always was. Are you the actual transfer? Yes. And then following are the two new prohibiting questions. So if I answer yes to 21B or C, then Bravo is not going to let me move on with the transaction. And then the following yes, no questions that are just now renumbered.
Hey, Christy, I've got a question for you, or Philip has a question.
Sure.
When you were filling out page one, I think you skipped middle name. I think he's saying there should be something that's NMN for no middle name.
Yep, I put in no middle name.
Okay.
I think I just put NM though, maybe not. Oh, I did NA. You're right. No middle name.
Thanks.
And then new is once you answer that you're a United States citizen, this used to be like a repeat question. So you used to have to answer it. But something new, if you look in the instructions here, is if they are a US citizen, you're to leave 21 and 1 blank. So that one now is a not applicable question, which it used to be before. And then we'll go ahead and tap to sign. And then, of course, we always validate that certification date. And that's it. So that is the new form from start to finish. Any questions or additional questions?
I don't see
Okay.
it right now in the chat, Christy. So I think we can keep moving forward. But if questions come up, you guys go ahead, throw them in the chat or the Q&A section.
Okay, great. So the next thing, super important information, and it's okay if you forget and you call us. So when we release this Bravo, that's going to start everybody on the new form. So what happens with any forms that have already been started? So any form that has a status of either not started, started, or active. So that is where you have sent the form to the customer. And for whatever reason, maybe they didn't start it, they got busy, they walked out of the store, or they started it, but they didn't finish it. A day has gone by for whatever reason. If it's in one of these three statuses, on release day, Bravo's going to automatically cancel these forms, and you'll just send the customer a new one. And that's by just clicking on that QR code. If the form is ready to review, so the customer has actually completed it, but you at the store have not reviewed it at all, that form is going to have to be manually canceled, and then you can actually just resend them a new QR code to start the new 4473 form. If on release day, so the 28th, you have a form that has been store accepted. So the customers filled out the 4473, you reviewed it, you've accepted it, but maybe it's like in the NICS hold period. That form is going to be fine because the NICS transaction date is prior to April 1st. You're good to move on with that form and continue to use it. And then any new customers who come in as of the 28th to purchase a firearm will all be issued that new 4473 form. So again, we're going to auto cancel any customers forms that have been started but not completed and are active. You will have to manually cancel. They're ready for review. And we've made it real simple. The screen is just going to pop up and let you know you have to send a new QR code. So we've built the workflow right in.
Christy, we've got a question for you. Wondering if you can cover the under 21 part again.
Yeah, so let's go. Let me go back into Bravo here.
And there's another question from Karen about how to access and update delayed forms for under age 21. So maybe if you can talk about those together.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to hit refresh to refresh this information, bring the form back into Bravo. So I had, that's why I put NA, because I had Jane NA there. So I knew it was doing something there. So I'm going to go ahead and accept this anyway, despite the fact that it's not correct. We'll put in the ID information, the expiration date. Hey, Steph, somebody's knocking at the door. Sorry, I have somebody at my door. Okay, and then we're going to accept. And then we'll say that we did receive a delay. We can go ahead and make it our 3 days out, put in our NTN number, and then we're going to choose save and suspend, right? So typically you would, if you're using NICS e-check, we would first have gone through that process. Comes back, it says delayed, we put in the delayed. So now we'll hit save and suspend. We would suppose it has been maybe a couple of days. We get back in contact, customer comes back in, or they get back in contact with us. We call back out to find out if we can release the firearm. We can't, they give us an additional, say, 10-day delay now. We'll go back in and grab that last customer. I'm going to choose transactions. We're going to choose pending transaction. There's our firearm. And now a tab second response is available. Now we're going to hit notice of additional delay. And then you can enter in the notice date and then the date you would be allowed to release it. If no response, then we would save and suspend again. And then again, if no response was given within that 10-day period of time, we'd come back into second response, and then choose if no response was given. Any questions? Does that clear up both of them? I think it should, but if not, let me know. We're good? Okay.
We're good.
All right. Okay, so moving on to retail. So the big one is that we were able to integrate catalogs into Bravo in this latest release. So we've integrated Sports South, Lipsey's, and RSR Group. And then through these catalog imports, you're going to be able to bring in serialized inventory. In our next minor release of Bravo, you'll be able to bring in serialized inventory from any vendor. But on this first initial release, it is going to be limited to Sports South, Lipsey's, and RSR Group. A minor release will be coming out shortly, so you'll be able, like I mentioned, to be able to bring them in serialized inventory from anybody. And then that's part two, is that it's actually, you can bring in serialized inventory. So we're actually going to go in and I'm going to show you how those catalogs work. We're going to bring in a firearm. So let's go ahead and jump back into Bravo. All right, so we're going to come in here to inventory and we're going to drop down the tree and we're going to choose add SKU inventory. So you're going to add SKU inventory whether you're adding the actual product SKU for the first time or if you're just simply adding more product to that particular SKU. So that'll be where you go. And then the first thing you can do is if it's an item that you've brought in before, you can just grab the UPC code, the SKU, the description, and type it in. Scanning it's probably the fastest, right? Using the manufacturer's UPC code. If for whatever reason you don't have it, you could type in a little bit of a description. So in this example, I'm just going to go for G19, and then I'm going to hit this little looking glass. Any item that actually matches that description that I have brought in before is going to show up here. If it's not the item that I'm looking for, I want to go ahead and just hit catalog search. And now that's when it's going to search all of the catalogs. So you can see we've got RSR groups matching, we've got some Lipsey's and Sports South, all that match that particular model. So from this point, I just find the particular item I'm looking for. Let's say it is this pistol, and then I choose select. Now you'll notice all of this information where normally you're filling it out is all come pre-populated in there. So all we need to do, if we want to, is enter in our own unique SKU number. If you leave it blank, we're just going to use the manufacturer's UPC. And then if you want to associate up to 4 other alias SKUs with this item, you can do so. Otherwise, we're just going to go ahead and pop in, say, the MSRP, what our store price is, and then hit next. And now we're just going to add in the serial numbers of those individual firearms. So we're just going to come in and we're going to hit this SN here. And then again, typically, if you're bringing it in from those vendors, they're going to have a barcode. You're going to be able to scan that barcode with your gun and it's going to enter in the serial number, or, depending on who you're working with, they might tell you don't use the UPC, actually type it in. You can enter in your importer and then put the location. And let's say we brought in 2 of these particular firearms. It's going to automatically assume I'm putting it in the same case. These are the only 2 I'm going to bring in. We're going to say okay. And now all I need to do, I have so many windows open, I got to keep dragging stuff around, is put in my added cost. So let's say it was $10.20. So now all of my item particulars are in there. I can go ahead and simply select my vendor. And if it wasn't, Lipsey's, it could be anybody. You could put it in anybody. We'll say we brought it in from RSR Group. There they are. We're going to go ahead and associate it with an inventory number. So I'm just going to use today's date. And that's it. I'm bringing in 2 of these SKUs. I'm going to hit save. Asks, am I sure I want to save these changes? I'm going to choose yes. And then because these are firearms, even though it's a SKU, because it's a firearm, we're going to queue it to print an actual tag, right? So when you're doing a physical inventory of your location, you're actually scanning a Bravo inventory number, and that inventory number is associated with that serial number. So that creates a nice process when you're actually completing your physical inventory. You don't have to print these tags if you don't or choose not to. That's fine too.
Question for you, Christy, if you know this one. Is importer required for US made firearms?
I don't know the answer to that. I mean, I assume no, because nobody's importing it in, but I don't know the answer to that.
Any customers know the answer to that? It looks like Philip says no. We don't know. We can see if we could find that out for you, Suzanne.
Good question. We will get back to you on that.
Oh, I think Suzanne's saying she knows it's not necessarily required, but Bravo requires it.
So there's actually, that is controlled by you. So you can either leave it open and hope that every employees remember to put it in when it's required, or you can make it a required field so that they have to type in NA if there isn't one.
So Suzanne, if you want us to turn that off for you, just post, please turn that off. Okay, got it. I will make a case for you and get that taken care of.
Okay. And then, like I mentioned, if you just want to add more inventory to an existing SKU you've already got set up, we can just come into inventory. Again, we're going to hit add SKU inventory. This time I've got some Glock t-shirts. I'm just going to type in Glock. Oh, here's the shirt. I'm just going to add one more. So I'm just going to do an added cost of $12.91. We're just going to add one shirt. Again, it's going to have me select my vendor. It could be anybody. Look for purchase order number, and then I hit save. In this version of Bravo, we're not going to queue the tag printer for anything that is not serialized. And again, in a minor release, we'll make some updates to printing tags. So if you want to print an individual tag for each SKU'd item, you'll be able to check a box to have that automatically happen for you. Any questions?
There is another question in here. I'll just go ahead and read that. Suzanne's asking, when we're creating new inventory, firearm A&D items, is Bravo pre-populating the A&D book fields, or do we enter them the first time we create the SKU?
So if it's a firearm and you're bringing it in from a vendor, we're grabbing all of that information from the vendor as they bring it in, right? So let's do that G19 again. You shouldn't have to change anything, but you certainly, if you needed to, could. I apologize, I grabbed the wrong thing here.
And then Suzanne, just so you know, the process for if it doesn't come for vendor catalog, you'll still have to enter all of the information like you do now. So if you're bringing it in over the counter, you would still enter it in. And I know you had asked a question, like it looked like the importer or the distributor had the information wrong. So you could edit it if you found that their data that they're providing us is wrong. So you'd have to edit it, but we're getting that information directly from them. And so we're just populating this with whatever's coming from the distributor.
And if their information, like Tally said, if the information is wrong, that is when you would use this edit SKU option here. And that would be like if either, and it wouldn't work for like serialized items, but if it was like a shirt or something and you accidentally put in that there was 19 and really there was 20, or, you know, that would be like an edit number situation, or if you needed to edit this particular information. But it shouldn't, I mean, technically it's coming and we update with the catalogs, we sync with them multiple times a day. So if you're using the catalog information, it should be correct. But you certainly can
Got it.
update. Got it?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Any other questions with product SKUs? Okay. And then just so we can see, I think this one had some, yeah. So what happens if you actually just scan the UPC of the item because you decide, I don't want to print out individual labels for each item. So we'll just quickly run through that. I just grabbed the UPC number off of one of these firearms and I'm just gonna scan it into Smart Search. And then a duplicate picker pops up with the serial number. So you can look at the firearm and figure out which is the actual correct firearm that you should be selling. Oh, it's the one that's GD4. And then you select it and then move into the transaction from there. It's going to ask me to bring in a customer. Okay, if there's no more questions on that, we'll move along. Okay, so mobile updates. Oh, we got a question.
Yes, we do. Okay, this is our second trivia question. Get your chats out. The question is, how many free notification text messages have been sent through mobile messenger year to date? So this is just 2023. I will give you a hint. It's a lot more than 50. So go ahead, start typing your answers, and the person closest to the right answer will get the gift card.
And if you're not certain what we're talking about, if you have Mobile Pawn, we are now sending free text messages with reminders to make payments on loans and layaways. So we do that for you now, and you don't pay anything. We absorb the 7 cents per text message, and we're sending all of those reminder texts for you on your behalf. So if you're a mobile messenger customer and you're a Mobile Pawn customer, then we're actually taking care of all of those notices for you. And we are sending a boatload of them.
Yeah, so a lot of good guesses. All right, get your guesses in if you haven't in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we have guesses all over the place, but from what I can see, the winner is Suzanne. Oh, Vito just got his in with 1 million. Christy, go ahead and roll to the next slide. That is how many free notification text messages have gone out from Bravo this year. Billy, so, all right, so I think we had Suzanne, you were the winner on that one. You were the first one to get your $1 million or million text guess in there. I'm not sending you $1 million. I just want to be clear. Oh, awesome.
Would have put in my guess for that amount of money.
That's right. I know. Philip says, wow, we think the same thing. Even internally, sometimes we are surprised. Oh, Billy says he needs
right now. You cannot update the language in the free mobile texts, but we have that on customer suggestions.
All right. I see Billy says that he needs a coffee. Billy, if you leave us a review on SourceForge, I'm sending Starbucks gift cards, so you can still get yourself a free coffee this week. All right,
hey,
Christy,
question for you from Suzanne, and I don't remember, did we update the free messages to be based on default date instead of maturity date? I know this just came up.
For layaways, there is a way to do it on layaways. There is a way. We just went through this.
Yeah, so I'll find out what the answer was, Suzanne, and I'll get back to you on that.
All right. To mobile. So update we made here was making sure that if you're sending out any URLs through a text message, we just do a check to make sure it's actually a valid URL. So we did a little back end work. And really it's just to make sure that the end consumer, like your customer, has a good experience when they click on the link, it actually goes to where it should. So it just provides a better experience for your end consumer. The other thing that we did is kind of phase one of helping us drive more traffic into your store. We have a whole plan we're going to roll out here, but phase one is just allowing anybody in the world to download and have access to Mobile Pawn. The idea is that eventually we're going to get them pushed into your stores, but the only way to really have and use Mobile Pawn prior to this was to be associated with a store. But the reality is we have the shopping network buya.com that customers, we have a lot of shoppers and they'd love to shop through an app. So it's one way we discovered through doing some research of our apps that we have a ton of just people who have just found us somehow and downloaded the app. And then we get messages from them like, how do I use this? And where do I find a pawn shop? And what can I do with your app? So we have a ton of interest and we're just working towards getting these interested parties into your store. So if Mobile Pawn is not part of your product lineup, now is really the time to be thinking about it. So with this activation code, they're going to initially be limited to shopping. It's all they'll be able to do to start. But like I said, we're going to continue to build off of that. And part of allowing this all access is we had to have some sort of setup wizard to kind of take people through a little setup or step process so they knew what they were downloading. So I'm just going to take you guys virtually through what actually happens when they open. So this is one of the programs that we use when we're developing to see what the user interface looks like and how it's going to react. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to take you guys through this. But the first question they'll actually open up to is this first page where it's going to say, welcome to Mobile Pawn, let's get you started. They can, of course, skip it if they choose to skip it. It's just going to take them right to the shopping and then encourage them, to log in to actually have a better experience. Otherwise, if they hit the front arrow, it's going to ask if they've been to a store. If the answer is yes, then they're going to ask if you have an activation code. If it's yes, then we're going to look for them to enter it in. And then if they don't have an activation code, we're going to look for their phone number. So again, if they enter in your phone number and it is a customer of your store, we'll automatically connect them to your store. And then they're off and running and connected. They can make their layaway payments, pawn payments. If they're a customer of more than one store or not a customer of any store, then we will prompt them if they're a customer at more store for actually their loan or layaway number, put that in, and then we'll connect them again. So then if they say they have not been to a store, then again, we just take them into the shopping. So that is the new all access Mobile Pawn.
So just a few extra things on top of that is the app is now a shopping app for anybody that wants to download it. And so we're marketing it to our email list to download it. So if you want to get your stuff up on Buya and get it available to shop, we are heavily pushing people into use Mobile Pawn for shopping. So that's, if you need a little extra oomph, that is a takeaway from this, is that we're going to be driving the traffic. You've got to get the stuff up online for sale on Buya, and we will put more customers in front of it. And then, like Christy mentioned, the additional phases of this is eventually driving customers into your store. So if you don't have Mobile Pawn and you're looking for ways to increase door swings, it'll be available to Mobile Pawn customers as soon as we come out with that. And so when they say they haven't been into a pawn shop, we will ask them for their zip code and send them into the pawn shops that are nearest to them. So it's a lead gen for you guys. So if you don't have Mobile Pawn yet, this is sort of what the next few phases look like for us.
I also just wanted to mention, for those of you who are going to any regional trade shows or the MPA trade show, one of the things that Bravo is giving away at booths is Mobile Pawn swag. So that's in-store swag. It's not branded Bravo. So there's going to be vinyl stickers you guys can put in your doors. We have posters that are small enough you can take with you as well. If you're part of the user groups, we're doing giveaways for your company branded to have a big retractable banner. So it's stuff too that if you have Mobile Pawn, we're just going to pay for the in-store signage again, to drive more downloads, more payments for you as well. Just convenience for your customers. So other things that we're trying to provide to our customers to add value.
And we're going to try to partner with Burrell on this. And so they will have this. And so we're trying to come up with a program where you can call and order it and they'll ship it to you. So we're working with them on that, make it easy for you, especially if you order pawn tickets from them. You can just order the in-store promotional signage. But we're going to be at all of the trade shows this year. We'll have all of the mobile pawn materials ready for you to pick up. The mobile pawn enrollment features are coming out in the next release, which is March 28th. So those will be available. And if Christy, if a customer has duplicate records and then they try to enroll, do you know what happens? I'm assuming it'll throw an error.
So they have 2 records in one pawn shop. Can you, there is a way to do it. I don't know it off the top of my head.
I'll take a note of it.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you could get that person's information, we can email them back what to do.
It's great. And then Vito, plans to upgrade shop.sites and skins and themes. Yes, there is a plan to do that. We're adding to our development team. We have a e-commerce strategy that includes making BIA used guns and company branded a little bit more modern, and then also give shop users or company branded users additional themes to select from. So that is in the works. Awesome.
All right, I'm gonna roll forward. The next mobile pawn update we did is we updated the user interface to improve the experience. So we keep getting told, or we keep getting calls from your customers or from you, oh my gosh, they made a double payment by accident again. So one thing that we did to hopefully reduce some of these duplicate payments made in error is we actually have now listed the last paid date. So now they can see when they last paid, and it's pretty evident and right there, right? So that's hopefully will help reduce some of those duplicate payments. And then we also previously had a warning if a customer had made a payment within a 48-hour period of time. Wasn't long enough, so we went ahead and we upped it now to 15 days. So if you have a customer that had made a payment within the past 15 days, they will see a warning. Of course, they can still make the payment. But those 2 items we're hoping will reduce some of those duplicate payments that have been happening for a few of you. And then here's a big one. So we are releasing with Mobile Pawn our first digital pawn ticket. California is going to be the first state that gets the digital pawn ticket, and it is the very specific ticket. It is the GR10 CA No Just Legal. If you're not using that ticket, you can start a Zendesk ticket. We'd be happy to get started in digitizing your pawn ticket as well. But this happens outside of Bravo. So even though we have your ticket programmed in Bravo, we also need to update each and every single pawn ticket with Mobile Pawn. So it's a one-to-one, and as people come in and raise their hand saying that they're interested in it, we'll get rolling on those. But essentially what this digital ticket is going to allow you to do is I don't know if you can see, it's kind of small, but it's a checkbox here that is a disclosure checkbox. So it satisfies that need for the customer to read the disclosure of the pawn ticket prior to signing it. So they check that box to acknowledge the disclosure. They can actually sign the digital pawn ticket with their finger, and then we will store that like a PDF of that pawn ticket forever. So the customer can always go back, click on the link, and view a PDF of their stored pawn ticket. So digital disclosure, checkbox, customer signature, stored PDF pawn ticket.
So just to sort of elaborate on this is part of our vision to become more eco-friendly, more eco-conscious, provide a better experience for consumers using the app so that they can use Mobile Pawn and have all of their tickets stored there. It makes it better for you. And that ticket can actually be pulled up in store with their digital signature. The reason why we chose this ticket is it is the most commonly used ticket in California. So California was the big asker of this in Facebook at the conventions. They've been really driving for this. We went in, we looked at what the most commonly used California ticket is, and the most commonly used ticket is this GR10. That is not the Kappa ticket. We have plans to continue to roll this out for other pawn tickets. The caveat for that is that we have to basically create another custom ticket that's a digitized ticket in a digitized form that allows for digital signature. So there's development that goes in. We support more than 100 tickets, so we can't do 100 tickets at once. If you are interested in having your ticket digitized with the disclosure, customer signature, and stored PDF pawn ticket, post in the chat who you are, any 6-digit, 3-digit, all of the information that we need, and what pawn ticket you use. I also just wanted to mention that there is a additional fee to use the disclosure, customer signature, and stored PDF pawn ticket. It's $1 more. So whether you're paying it or your consumer is paying it, we just follow the same logic. So it will go from $149 to $249 or $199 to $299. Most of our customers have the consumer pay. Brian, you actually, so there's a question about doing this in Texas. You actually don't have to worry about this. The memorandum of extension, having that PDF'd for the customer is already a requirement of the OCCC. And so in Texas, when they do a memorandum of an extension, they already have the PDF accessible to them. So you're good on that.
And Tally, you said this is not the Kappa ticket, right? Megan was asking.
Correct. And I got Megan's info now. She wants the Kappa 403
Okay.
ticket. So the way that we're going to prioritize this and continuing to roll out digital pawn tickets, disclosure, and signatures is by the number of people that want it and the number of people that are using that particular ticket. So we're really excited about this. It takes actually a lot of time on our end. So this will be an initiative that rolls for a long time, but we're excited that you're excited for it, and we will get to work on additional pawn tickets.
All right, this is the last trivia question. So for the gift card, because how many loan and layaway payments have been made through Mobile Pawn year to date? So just 2023. Go ahead, open your chat, make some guesses. All right,
Greg, I see your question too. I'll get back to you after the trivia question.
Oh, I love this. Guesses all over the place.
$450,000 KO, just so you can see it in the Q&A. Some people posted
Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to go back and look at these. All right, for those of you who have not put an answer in, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go ahead and flip to the next slide. Year to date, 210,515 loan and layaway payments made through Mobile Pawn. We're not even through Q1. I'm going to have to go back through, but I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure Vito had the closest guess with 250,000.
While you're looking at that, Kathleen, let me answer Greg's question, which is, I'm about to deploy a new website. Where do customers do the anonymous Mobile Pawn enrollment from? So all they're going to do is they'll just go to the App Store and download Mobile Pawn. Or the Android store, the Play Store. They'll download it and then they'll be brought through the wizard. And when they're in the wizard and they say, yes, they have a store, then they'll be able to either request an activation code or put in their existing activation code. But you know, you can still text them and it'll take them to the same place. They'll be able to put in their activation code, or they can self-activate.
You see Adam's comment for the pawn
Yeah,
ticket?
Tap a
Okay.
ticket. Yep, I see that.
Okay.
Okay, do you have a winner, Cam?
Yeah, it was Vito. Vito was the
Okay, awesome.
closest. Well done.
Does anybody not have mobile pawn yet and wants to put it in the chat if we can contact you about how awesome it is? Or maybe if you're in the chat and you want to post about how awesome it is. It's definitely sort of our most exciting meetings is talking about the future of where it can go. Our dev alignment meetings, and when we talk about strategy, mobile is where it's at. So we love that you love it. Ooh, this is a good one. I don't know if I've heard this, Suzanne. Any changes coming to incorporate mobile pawn messages into contact history? So when we're working on a Bravo desktop, we can see their full contact history. That's a new one that I haven't heard yet. One thing that we are trying to do is create a dashboard task when you have a mobile message from mobile messenger, like a chat, but you would reply to the chat in Shopkeeper and not through Bravo. Although on Roadmap, we have communicating through Bravo, two-way texting through Bravo. We know you guys like to do things from the desktop. So that's all on Roadmap in customer suggestions. Cool. Megan, I will resurrect that. And Suzanne, I'll resurrect that. What year? Brian, that's always a tough one. For the notification in the dashboard, I would say this year. And one of our goals this year is to build out the requirements spec for two-way texting through Bravo. So that wouldn't be a 2023 development, but building out the spec would be, which means we would start working on it early next year. But the notification to say that you have something that you need to respond to in Shopkeeper is going to be available soon. Is there any way to have mobile pawn payment only print out one receipt? Do you usually print two receipts?
I feel like we put that on
Roadmap?
I feel like that's on Roadmap.
All right, we'll find out for you.
All right, any others, or should we keep rolling?
I think we can keep rolling for now.
Okay.
Philip,
All right.
like Philip had a comment in here.
Yeah.
That they've been asking.
This is
Yeah.
on Roadmap. So alerts for payments that are due, a pending tickets with a payments due should be a big red box. This is on Roadmap, putting a big red box around when you pull up a customer to basically notify you when they have something outstanding without going into pending transactions. That is on Roadmap. That's a 2023 release thing. So that's coming. When a customer uses mobile pawn to contact us, we have no info on the layaway or pawn they're referring to without going to the workstation. So that's because they're contacting you in the general chat. If they contact you, if they go into a loan or layaway and they chat from that, it'll actually show in mobile pawn or in Shopkeeper what they're talking about. But the reason why it's not in there is because they're just clicking chat at the bottom and it's a general chat. But I'll add this. It looks like a few of you guys are saying there's no details. All they see is the loan number. We want the due date to show. Show a pic, but no info. Okay, this is awesome. I wish you guys could come to Texas. This is great. I got it.
Did you say Brian was on the line? You better be at that user group meeting. Brian, you better be at that user group meeting.
Needs to be clickable with all the info. Okay, if you want to keep putting in notes about this idea of chat with mobile pawn and Shopkeeper and what it's missing, go ahead and keep putting it in, and I'll just take all of these notes and drop it in for our user group meeting.
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about an update that we did to Baya, the website. So you may have noticed if you are selling items on Baya.com or on your company branded website, you may have noticed that now you have PayPal Pay in 4. The caveat to that is it's a PayPal product. So if you are selling firearms, you probably aren't set up with PayPal, so you're not going to see this as an offering. But we are working on other products out there that are incredibly firearm friendly that you can use. But this was an easy ad for us. PayPal's already a partner. We have several customers still using them. But what happens is when there's an item that qualifies, and I believe it has to be over $30, the offer of paying in 4 interest-free payments just shows up. So when the customer actually selects learn more, it's going to, and here's one of our customers here that I found, Albert's Pawn. So you go ahead and click on learn more. And then this box automatically is going to pop up, encouraging the customer to go ahead and make monthly payments to PayPal. So the end goal is that you all sell more inventory, get paid immediately for it, and it's seamless.
So a few things on that, just in case you're not familiar with buy now, pay later kinds of apps, is you will receive your payment in full. The financing is between PayPal and the store. So you actually, nothing will change on your end. The funds will come in, you'll get them in full. If the customer doesn't pay their monthly fees to PayPal, nothing happens to you. It's all with the store. So there's some feedback on Facebook that I saw about PayPal and why we're using PayPal. I know that not everybody loves PayPal. It's still the most, popular consumer payment. I wrote down some numbers before COVID. PayPal had 305 million active users. Now, last year, they had 435 million active users. So this is the way that consumers still like to pay. Unfortunately, if you are a firearms FFL, you cannot use PayPal Pay Later for those purchases. We are looking to work with a partner. If you're interested in buy now, pay later, can you post for firearm specific? So used guns, company branded, if you have it in store. Can you post a Y or a yes in chat so that we can hear whether you would we should prioritize this? So if you want buy now, pay later for firearms specifically, post yes. Okay, cool. Awesome. Great.
Awesome. Okay. The next update that we made on the Buy Marketplace is to prevent or hopefully prevent some fraud. So we have blocked account creation when somebody tries to create a Buy account with the same phone number. If they have a locked account, so if any one of our customers has locked this customer out of their system, they've locked them out of Baya, then we don't let them create more accounts. And then if they have used the same number again to create more than one account in 24 hours, we block that as well. That's what fraudsters typically do, is they get a hold of one phone number or one email address, and then they try to set up multiple accounts all at once. So just another security level or layer we're trying to put in place for you guys on those internet transactions. Tali, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about Fortis. We pay very close attention to what you all are saying, and so we did a pretty extensive project with them in looking at fraud. Do you want to go into that just a little bit?
Yeah. So actually, the fraud rates on Fortis for mobile pawn specifically are the lowest. Like they're, I think, 1/10 of what normal fraud is. So I know that there's some fraud that's happening through mobile pawn. Most of it's friendly fraud. Mobile and on e-com, we've greatly reduced the amount of fraud with the blockers. Each release, we will continue to work with Fortis and sort of follow best practices for ways to continue to reduce fraud. We can only do so much, but also we're going to do as much as we can. So every release, you'll continue to see us roll out fraud protections for you guys and measures to make sure that you're covered. So we are working on that always, and it'll be in every release now moving forward. How can we block BIA customers? I know, Karen, you can submit a case and we can block them. That's traditionally how it works, and we block them within like 12 hours. So that happens almost immediately. We get the case when we can go in and block them.
All right, the next thing that we did based on customer feedback was we redesigned. We didn't add anything, but just moved some stuff around on the inventory labels. Most notably, you'll probably notice that we increased the font size of the price. That was by popular demand. And then we had reports that the barcodes, some customers were having trouble with their barcodes reading, with their barcode readers. So we actually just increased a little bit of white space around those barcodes. So that should result in more accurate scans. For customers that are converting from other systems, when we are converting your data, if you have UPCs that you have associated with your inventory, now when we convert that data, you'll be able to actually just scan that UPC code right into Smart Search. You'll no longer have to hit the little arrow, select inventory number, and then scan. So it's just 2 less clicks for those of you migrating over from other systems. And then we also updated new pawn tickets, and that was for Texas, Alabama, California, and New Jersey. That second one almost stumped me. And then for our California customers, we've updated the police download for your State Bill 1317. Again, for those users who need that download, you want to wait until the day that they are ready to accept that download. We are creating a video like we did last time that the CAPS updated their downloads. So it's super simple, just follow the steps on the day that CAPS is ready to begin accepting that download.
I have a few follow-ups. Did we do labels for firearms or larger fonts on layaway labels?
It was all the labels, so inventory
all the
labels. Yep, so layaways will be as well.
And then the other thing is new inventory labels will roll out automatically, and preemptively, we know not everybody loves everything that we roll out. So if you want to roll back to the previous labels, just submit a case. We're all ready for you. If you like the old labels and you want to roll them back, just let us know. We'll go in and we'll put you on the older style labels. But we designed these so they're easier to read, easier to scan, easier for your customers that are looking at them. So we hope that you love them. And then just one more thing is the new E4473 will begin on March 28th. Yes, that's correct, Philip. Over the last several releases, we've been really working hard on creating videos that are short and quick and easy for you to learn and send to your team. So we will have those ready soon for you. That the video will include everything in this release. We'll also send you this recording if you want the long version, or if you want the 8-minute version, we've got one of those for you too. If you need additional training on any of this stuff, submit a ticket. We would love to train your team and help you out and get you using whatever it is that you would like to use.
And actually the 8-minute video, so the like shortened version of this is already on our YouTube channel. You can go to Bravo's YouTube channel. So you can check that out. This was so awesome. I appreciate everybody staying on the line extra. For those of you who are winners of our trivia question, you're going to be getting $10 gift cards. And we're just so thrilled with all the great questions, all the great participation, that everybody who showed up today is going to be getting a $5 Starbucks gift card, and you have coffee on Bravo this week. So those will be coming out to whatever email address you registered with. If you want another free coffee, go to SourceForge, leave us a review, sign up for the user group at TAP. It is all about mobile pawn at that TAP user group. Of course, we'll take all the comments and suggestions from today and put them in that user group as well. We know not all of you are going to be there. And if you want to learn more about Bravo, or like Tally said, get a demo or a quote for any of the add-on products, I went ahead and put a link for the sign-up form, and a Bravo rep will reach out. You guys are awesome. We love showing up to these things, but we love when you show up to these things most of all. So let us know if you have any other questions. Thanks for the fantastic participation, the great feedback. Christy, Tally, thanks so much. Everybody have a great afternoon. Thank you.
We'll
Thank
see you all soon.
you.
I don't see any other questions.